Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Today we are reading Canto 4, Chapter 20, Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prutu, from text 13 to 25. Text 13. My dear heroic king, please accept yourself always please keep yourself always equipoised and treat people equally, whether they are greater than you in the intermediate stage or lower than you. Do not be disturbed by temporary distress or happiness. Fully control your mind and senses. In this transcendental position, try to execute your duty as the king in whatever condition of life you may be posted by my arrangement, for your only duty here is to give protection to the citizens of your kingdom. Text 14. To give protection to the general mass of people who are citizens of the state is the prescribed occupational duty for a king. By acting in that way, the king in his next life shares one-sixth of the result of the pious activities of the citizens. But a king or executive head of state who simply collects taxes from citizens but does not give them proper protection as human beings as the results of his own pious activities taken away by the citizens, and in exchange for his not giving protection, he becomes liable to punishment for impious activities of his subjects. Text 15. Lord Vishnu continued, My dear King Prutu, if you continue to protect the citizens according to the instructions of learned Brahmana authorities as they are received by disciplinary succession, by hearing from master to disciple, and if you follow the religious principles laid down by them without attachment to ideas manufactured by material mental concoction, then every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you, and very soon you will be able to see such liberated personalities as the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumara. Text 16. My dear king, I am very captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior, and thus I am very favorably inclined towards you. You may therefore ask from me any benediction you like. One who does not possess equivalent elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor simply by performance of sacrifices, severe austerities, or mystic yoga. But I always remain equipoised in the heart of one who is also equipoised in all circumstances. Text 17. The great Saint Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, in this way Maharaja Prutu, the conqueror of the entire world, accepted the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead on his head. Text 18. As King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Prutu to touch his lotus feet. But King but Maharaja Prutu immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for the sacrifice. Text 19. King Prutu abundantly worshipped the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was so merciful to him. While worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, King Prithu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service. Text 20. The Lord was just about to leave, but because he was He was so greatly inclined towards the behavior of the king Prithu. He did not depart. Seeing the behavior of Maharaj Prithu with his lotus eyes, he was detained because he is always the well-wisher of his devotees. Text 21. The original king Maharaja Prithu, his eyes full of tears and his voice faltering and choking, could neither see the Lord very distinctly nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He simply embraced the Lord with his heart and remained standing in that way with folded hands. Text 22. The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he rested the front of his hand and on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of snakes. Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus, the king offered the following prayers. Text 23. My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for the living entities bewildered by the modes of the nature? Such benedictions are available automatically even in the lives of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish to have such a benediction. Text 24. My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1 million years, for thus I may be able to hear your glories of your lotus feet from the mouth of your pure devotees. Text 25. My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Krishna Venu Prabhuji, please take over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for giving this opportunity to purify myself. So am I audible, Mataji? Able to hear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pradeep Prabhuji, for reading today's Bhagavatam section translation. So today we are reading from Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, titled Lord Vishnu's Appearance in the Sacrificial Arena of Maharaj Prithu. And today's section is from text 13, slokas 13 to 25. So we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachatta Deshatarani. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We're in the section of Maharaj Prithu's pastimes. In the last chapter, we heard how Maitreya Muni narrating about Prithu Maharaj performing 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, and when he was doing the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna, how Lord Indra tries to disturb not to perform that yajna because he is the only one who did 100 yajnas as at that time. and he don't want his universal record to be broken. So, and then of course, Maharaj Prithu became very angry and he wanted to kill, but the sages stopped him because he's performing the yajna. So, and the sages told that they will call Indra with their mantras to the sacrificial area. So, and at that time we heard Lord Brahma appeared and requested Prithu Maharaj to stop 100th yajna because Indra is getting disturbed. Of course, following the Lord Brahma's instruction, Prithu Maharaj stopped his 100th yajna. And we heard from in the last session by His Grace Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu, very nicely summarized last section from slokas 1 to 12. Like because Prithu Maharaj followed the instruction of Lord Brahma and stopped the 100th yajna, though he externally seems to be could not meet the universal record of performing 100 yajna or more than that. But if we look at it deeply, he won the heart of Lord Vishnu. So that is higher than performing the 100th yajna. So we see in this chapter, being pleased, Lord Vishnu appeared in that sacrificial arena along with Indra. And Lord Vishnu also mentions to Prithu Maharaj to excuse Lord Indra's offense. And he also mentioned in the last section that who has higher intelligence, so they will perform welfare activities, they will not be envious of others, and they know that they are not this body, so they won't do the body related activities, and they will be perfectly situated in devotional service. Like that, he spoke enlightened Prithu Maharaj with many spiritual instructions. And that is continuing today's section also. And in the 13th sloka, we see that Lord Vishnu is mentioning that to Prithu Maharaj that to keep himself equipped and treat people equally. They could be greater than him or equal or lower like that. And do not be distressed by temporary distress and happiness, and control his mind and senses. And in this way, execute your order, your duty as a king, and protect citizens, to give the protections of citizens. And here we see that Prithu Maharaj is getting the instruction directly from Lord Vishnu, of course, which is to give the protections to the citizens. Similar to like Arjuna getting instructions from Lord Krishna directly during the Kurukshetra war to fight in that Kurukshetra war with his all abilities. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj is getting the instruction here. Of course, Prithu Maharaj executed the order perfectly. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that similarly, we also should execute the order that we received from the bona fide Guru, who is coming from the bona fide Sampradaya, because it's equivalent of getting the instruction from Lord Krishna or Vishnu. So one should take, the devotee should take the instruction of Guru or Acharya as a life and soul. That we see in the life of the exalted devotees, like Srila Prabhupada. He took his Guru Maharaj's instruction, which is preaching to the Western people, so as his life and soul. So he traveled all over the world and gave this wonderful Krishna conscious knowledge. And we see Prabhupada's many wonderful disciples also following like that, like His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, who left the planet recently. So taking the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, his life and soul, executed very perfectly, like, worked very hard, sleeping only a couple of hours, putting all his efforts aside, but he executed the order of the spiritual master. So that's why Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that those devotees' aim is only one. Yavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kuru nandana. Like, those devotees who are resolute in purpose, their aim is only one. What is that? To please Guru or Krishna, like that. And in the next sloka, we see that Lord Vishnu is telling that give protection to the general mass of people who are citizens of the state. By acting in that way, what is the thing will happen? Like, the king will share 1/6 of the result of the pious activities of the citizen. so in the next life. So if he doesn't do, but simply collect taxes from the citizens, then what he will do is, what will happen? So he will lose his own pious activities because that is taken by the citizens. In exchange, what he will get? He will liable to punishment for the impious activities of subjects. So this is very instructive. Like, Krishna created 4 varnas and 4 ashtamas, right? Chatur varnam, Maya system, like, 4 varnas. But of course, they are based on the guna karma vibhagasa, like qualities and activities. So like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, and the Pruthumaras belongs to the Kshatriya. So the Kshatriya's duty is Praja Rakshan, like, to protect the citizens. So that's what the Lord Vishnu is also giving instruction here, am I right? To protect the mass of the people. Just by doing like that, so they will please Krishna. So, and Prabhupada mentions that these varnas or ashramas arranged by Krishna, it's not just by blindly like that or accidentally, like some people say like that. But this arrangement is done in such a way that just by performing whatever the prescribed duties based on their qualities and activities, they can achieve the highest perfection. So liberation from this material bondage, because they would please Lord Vishnu. So that's why, that's what even Bhagavad Gita Krishna mentions. Swasve karmani abhirataha samsiddham labate naraha. Like, by executing one's prescribed duties, they can attain highest perfection. So that can be done keeping Krishna in the center in all our activities. The other point mentioned here is like, if we don't, by doing like that, that leader or the person will share 1/6 of the result of the pious activities of their dependents. But if not, then they will lose their pious activities, and also they will get the impious activities results of their dependents. So it's not just for the king, but this same principle is applicable for any leader, like parents or guru, like that. So if I'm talking to myself, we cannot train our kids to be engaged in this wonderful Krishna conscious activities. If we engage them, then we will share a small portion of their good activities, pious activities. If not, and if they are engaged in sinful activities, then we will get a small portion of their sinful results into our account. And in exchange, we lose our pious activities. So it's a very instructive. That's why Rishabhadev says, Lord Rishabhadev says in Bhagavatam that Guru na sasyat swajano na sasyat, like, if we cannot deliver our dependent from the path of repeated birth and death, then one should not become a guru or a father or husband or mother, like that. Of course, it's a very heavy instructions for me. But at least we could see that there is a great responsibility on father and mother, like that. So we become a devotee and we help our kids to become devotees. So in that way, we will not lose our pious activities. Instead, we accrue or we get the small portion of our dependents' pious activities results. So, and then in the text 15, Lord Vishnu is continuing, saying that if you continue to protect the citizens according to the instructions of the learned Brahmana authorities, who are there? They are received by the disciplic section. So, and without attachments. So then what will happen? Every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you. And then soon you will be able to see the liberated personalities, the 4 Kumaras, like Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumar. So this is also another good point that the modern society is missing. Like, the king should take advice from the prominent Brahmanas, Vijagrayas, like, and most learned Brahmanas, because they are like the head of the society, and they can be able to give good instructions for the welfare of the king and also for the welfare of all the people. And they should be coming from the bona fide sampradaya, so disciplic section. because they will receive whatever the instruction they are receiving from the bona fide sampradaya. So it's coming directly from Krishna. So they can give that instructions to the king. And if the king act in that way, then he will be called as a Rajarshi, like saintly personality. So we see that this is the case in the previous yugas. Like Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad-gita, right? Evam parambara praptam nimam Rajarshya vidu. Like, the saintly kings, they have received this kind of instructions, the spiritual enlightenment through the learned brahmanas, through the disciplic section, who are coming to the disciplic section. Of course, Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that Sakalayana Mahata Yogo Nasta Parantapa, because it has been lost. So Krishna was giving again that same knowledge to Arjuna in the battlefield. And in the text 16, we see that Lord Vishnu is saying that, my dear king, I am very captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior. I am very favorably inclined toward you. So therefore, you ask me for any benediction you like. And another thing he mentions is, one who doesn't possess elevated quality and behavior cannot possibly achieve me simply by performing sacrifices or severe austerities or mystic yoga like that. So this is another good point that we can see from here and try to develop this thing in our even in our own life like that. So when Prabhupada mentioned that Krishna is pleased when a person has all good qualities or excellent behavior, not by performing some kind of sacrifice or severe austerities or mystic yoga. Because even we see in the scriptures, even the demons, they perform the severe austerities or sacrifices because that is for their own sense gratification, not for the welfare of others or to please Krishna like that. And how can we develop these good qualities? Bhagavatam mentions that it is possible when we progress in the path of bhakti, Krishna consciousness. So, yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha. Like it says that when one has developed unflinching faith, devotional faith in Krishna, then all the good qualities of that we see in the demigods, that will appear in that devotee. But if he has no devotion, then there is no chance of having good qualification, good qualities, like harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna, like that. And Prabhupada mentions there are 26 kinds of good qualities, like, the person who has good qualities, they will be kind to everyone, will not quarrel with anyone, or he will be fixed in the path of bhakti, is equal to everyone, like that. There are 26 kind of good qualities. And those good qualities we can develop in this Kali Yuga, being in the association of the devotees and following the path of bhakti that is prescribed for this Yuga, the chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then slowly all these good qualities will manifest in us. And then it will please Lord Vishnu, our Supreme Lord Krishna. And then the text 17, you see that Maitreya Muni continuing that, my dear Vidura, in this way Maharaj Prithu, the conqueror of the entire world, accepted the instruction of the Supreme Lord on his head. So this is the, Prabhupada mentions that this is what a devotee should do. Like, one should take the Krishna's instruction and execute it with great attention and care. And similarly, a devotee should take the instruction that is coming from the Guru or Acharya as their life and soul and execute it perfectly. So which is the success of the human life. And in the text 18, we see that King Indra, who is standing by, so he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. And then Maharaj Prithu immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him because he has stolen his horse, which is meant for the sacrifice. And this is the Vaishnava quality. Like a Vaishnava is always ready to forgive. And Prabhupada mentions that we see that in the case of Ambarish Maharaj also. So Ambarish Maharaj, he forgave Durvas Mahamani. So even the Durvas Mani, he tries to kill Ambarish Maharaj, but Ambarish Maharaj did not took it as offense. Like instead, so when the Sudarshan Chakra is trying to kill Durvas Muni, so he forgave Durvas Muni for his offense, and also he protected Durvas Muni from the Sudarshan Chakra. So that's a great quality of a Vaishnava. So he's ready to forgive. And also devotees, other qualities, like, when he understand that he offended another devotee, he doesn't hesitate to go and beg forgiveness from that devotee. We see that, King Indra. So this is a demigod quality. King Indra, he understood that he did offended. So now he is asking forgiveness from Prithu Maharaj. But the demons, even though they understand that they did a mistake, but they don't go and beg forgiveness from the other devotees. Like we see from the case of Ravanasura, right? So Ravanasura, though he has done a mistake, and he was told by many other personalities like Vibhishana and his wife Mandodari, or even Kumbhakarna, they all mentioned that, he did a mistake, but he did not agree and he did not requested forgiveness from the Supreme Lord Ramchandra. So that's a demon quality. But a Vaishnava quality, or trying to be a devotee quality, is when he understands that he did a mistake or he offended another devotee, then he will go and beg forgiveness. So in the text 19, we see that King Prithu, so he abundantly worshipped Supreme Lord, was merciful, and gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service. So when Prabhupada mentions that when one becomes perfect in Krishna consciousness, then automatically all these ecstatic symptoms appear. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions in his Sistastakam, right? Vadanam Gadgada Giraya Ruddaya Giraya, like that, Pulakair, like the hair stands up, the hair on the body stands up, his voice chokes up, and tears come from his eyes, like that. And we hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Mahaprabhu exhibited all these qualities. They are mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, like Kampas, Veda, Pulakashu, Stamba, Vaivarnya, like that, So, like tears coming up, and then trembling, perspiration, like that. Of course, as a trying it to be a devotee, so without purifying, one should not imitate and exhibit these symptoms artificial. So they will come automatically when one becomes purified. And that purification comes when we practice this path of bhakti sincerely and seriously. I'm talking to myself. And in the text 20, we see that Lord Vishnu is just about to leave, but because he was greatly inclined toward the behavior of the King Prithu, so he did not depart. And seeing the Maharaj Prithu with his lotus eyes, he was detained because he's always well-wisher of his devotees. So we see that, how a devotee is attracted by Krishna's pastimes and his holy name. So similarly, Krishna is also attracted by his devotees. That's why he likes to stay with devotees. And we hear this sloka, right? Naham tistami vaikunte yoginam hridayeshva tatra tistami narada yatra gayanti mad bhakta. Like, Krishna, he resides where the devotees are chanting his holy name, or discussing his pastimes or his form or qualities, not in the heart of the yogis or even in his own Vaikunta, but he will stay in the where the devotees are doing the path of bhakti. and Prabhupada mentioned this is not partiality, because Krishna reciprocates how a living entity approaches him, like eyatamam prapatyante. Like a devotee wants Krishna, so Krishna would like to stay with him. And demons, they don't want Krishna, so Krishna goes away. So when Krishna goes away, what happens? That the Maya will come and capture that living entity. And then due to that Maya's influence, then that living entity goes through all kind of suffering. So miserable life. So in the text 21, you see that the original king, Maharaj Prithu, his eyes full of tears and voice faltering and choked up, so could not see the Lord very distinctly, nor speak to address the Lord in that way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart. And Prabhupada mentions the purport that here Prithu Maharaj is mentioned as the original king, Adi Raja. Like how we see from the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma's prayers, Krishna addressed as Adi Purusham, the original personality. Similarly, here Maharaj Prithu is addressed as Adi Raja, original king, because he is the ideal king and also empowered incarnation of Supreme Lord, Shakti Avatar. So as the ideal king, he protected all his citizens, arranged employment, and provided the food grains. So everything as a responsible king. So and Prabhupada mentions that having those that many responsibilities, Prithu Maharaj, we see that Prithu Maharaj is a pure devotee, wonderful devotee. So this is a great inspiration for all of us. At least I speak to myself. Like, though we have a family and we are working, but we will not have as many responsibilities as Prithu Maharaj, am I right? So, and Prithu Maharaj became a pure devotee. So then we can also take inspiration from the Prithu Maharaj's pastimes, and then we can also advance in the path of bhakti, keeping Krishna center in all of our activities. And in the text 22, you see that Supreme Lord stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground, while rested the front of his hands on the raised shoulder of Garuda. And Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, and the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. So now the Prithu Maharaj started offering prayers. And Srila Prabhupada mentions that in the purport that these residents of the higher planetary systems, like starting from Brahmaloka up to the Swargaloka, because these residents are spiritually advanced, when they come to this earthly planet, they can stand not touching the ground. They can stand above the ground. And this, I heard that even this has been seen in Srila Prabhupada's life also. Like one time when Srila Prabhupada and along with his many disciples walking in the Vaichak beach, the devotees, his disciples noticed that they did not see the footprints of Srila Prabhupada on the sand, on the beach. They could see other devotees' footprints on the sand, but not the Srila Prabhupada's footprints. We could see that because Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, so he could walk above the ground. So of course, Supreme Lord Krishna is he's a Supreme Lord, so he can do anything and everything. So here we see that he is standing above the ground. And in the text 23, Prithu Maharaj started offering his prayers in the best of the demigods who can offer benediction. So why therefore should any learned personality ask benedictions meant for living entities bewildered by the modes of nature? Because those benedictions are available automatically in the lives of the living entities suffering in the hellish conditions. So I do not wish to have such a benedictions. So the pure devotees, they don't desire any material benedictions like opulences or anything like that. Mahaprabhu mentions in the Sistastakam, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Nakavitam, Jagadisha, Kamaya, like that. They don't want any wealth or followers or beauty or anything like that. So what they want, they only want Mama Janmani Janmani Ishwarya Bhavatad Bhakta Haitiki. Like, they want to serve Krishna, life after life, like that. And they are not, they are ready to take another birth also, to go through one life after life, another life like that, as long as they wanted to serve only the Krishna and his devotees like that. And then the text 24, Prithu Maharaj is saying that I do not wish the benediction of merging even is Brahma Jyoti. So because there is no existence of nectar and beverage of your lotus feet. So what he wants is benediction of at least 1 million years. So in that way, he can hear about the glories of the Supreme Lord from the mouths of the pure devotees. Here we see that, Prithu Maharaj is not wishing to be merged into the Brahma Jyoti. In fact, devotees consider that as a hellish condition. Kaivalyam narakayate. So they want to hear Krishna Katha. And Srila Rupa Goswami also mentions the same thing, like, he wanted to have millions of ears and tongues so that he can chant from all those tongues, and then he can hear Krishna's holy name. So similarly, Prithu Maharaj is also asking millions of ears so that he can hear Krishna Katha from the mouth of pure devotees, because they derive great satisfaction and bliss by listening Krishna Katha. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha, like that. That's why they are not looking for anything else. In the text 25, the last sloka for today's section. My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus is just like saffron particles. And when the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with Supreme Lord. And they will come to the right conclusion about the value of life. So that's why what he's praying is praying to have the opportunity to hear from the mouth of pure devotees. So we see the importance of the devotees association. So Prithu Maharaj is not looking for any material wealth or merging into the Brahma Jyoti or anything like that. He only wanted to have the association of the pure devotees and hear from the pure devotees. So this is a success of the life. So when we are in the association of the devotees, then our devotion is protected. And we will be inspired from those devotees, and we can slowly progress in the path of bhakti. Otherwise, there is a great chance to fall down. So that's why whenever these exalted devotees are coming to our area, so we can take their association and get inspired, and then progress in the path of bhakti as much as we can. That is what mentioned are the verdict of the scriptures, like sadhu sangha, sarva shastrakaya, lavamatra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhaya. Like, by taking the association of the devotees, even a moment's association will make all success, all our human life successful. So taking this opportunity, I am very thankful for all of you, wonderful devotees, giving your valuable association and inspiring me or helping me to stay in the path of bhakti. Thank you all. So I'll pause it here. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank you all. Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you all devotees for joining the class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.